rough idea of an endgame um, Chaos Bringer Thief Monk using instant abilities, but daggers as a backup. I'm going to do a Chaos Bringer, a Lunatic, a Focus, switch to Thief, Invisible Barrage, D-pad left and right. Try to get behind the enemy. Oh, great. Never mind. We're just doing dagger combo abilities up, and we're getting killed. Uh, can we steal anything? Nope, we cannot. So the second phase is going to go a lot faster because we can steal crack from behind and shove crack up their butt, and they're going to die. And that's so just the idea of like some bosses are just going to get completely destroyed, and there others are going to have very sucky phases, like this first phase sucked. But if maybe we can find another boss battle, and then we'll go to the world map to look at um, some of the stuff. But this is not a build that works very well with enemy attack depletes buffs without a lot of very tight timing or play. Nope, that guy's a jerk. That was Chaos Lich. Um, and not finding it. Darn. Oh well. Let's go to the world map and we'll just look at one boss. Granted, I am abusing the boss in particular here, so uh, only because I know how she already operates, so that's not entirely fair. Let's put these trials on just because they suck. So we're going to bully Tiamat and just a rough idea of how this all goes down. And then we'll go to back to the world map and just cover it. So, uh, and then we push to the second phase, refresh our buffs a little bit before she comes back. And that's kind of how things could go um, on a lot of the bosses, like 3/4 of them, almost. I almost want to say 2/3 because some of them have like really crappy boss phases that make it worse. Um, but let's take a quick look through the build. But this is not the video that we're going to be going into great depth about it. Um, so using Thief, doesn't matter which one, but I am using the one to steal buffs. For my choice, I stacked agility as high as I can get it because I'm going to be based on critical hits. The assassin is there just for that agility. Bonus if I happen to not get hit, but assassin 400%. For my own convenience, Dragoon 400% for the attack speed. Paladin 400% to be resistant to status ailments. I grabbed Thief 120% because of the instant ability damage dealt, and anything else is just giggles. Not actually helping the damage or the break of this build. Tyrant 400% so that ideally I could critical hit from any direction if the enemy has an accumulated status ailment. I wasn't necessarily doing that uh, when I was playing. And then across my gear, improved effect barrage and invisible on the thief side, stacking agility, instant ability damage dealt, and instant ability break damage. And then I also have Fenrir because that brought out the most agility out of my jobs. And for the most part, I have that across my gear, except for some that will have damage taken at max HP because I want my Lionheart, the accessory, to last longer when I'm using Chaos Bringer, except during enemy attacks, deplete buffs. That doesn't matter. You just get, uh, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter as much. You just lose amounts just based on a flat percent. I do have Bisect here, so I can get behind enemies a little bit easier and steal from them from behind, or possibly set up for one of the other dagger combo abilities. I have Chronostasis. The hope was I can use Chronostasis on a side link, or even just flip backwards for a bit to avoid the enemy. Um, and then Invisible, so I don't get targeted as often, and also a big boost to critical uh, break damage. The Barrage to take advantage of all the agility and make my abilities hit more than uh, more than once. Lunatic for the attack speed, just as a convenience. Chaos Bringer, because I didn't want to deal with managing my MP, even though there's going to be a different build that may end up doing this without Chaos Bringer. Um, but Chaos Bringer also is a big break damage boost in a separate bucket. So just kind of looking at this, the instant ability damage dealt and break damage, that's combined, that's like 800%. And then we have the invisible, which is like a separate bucket for critical hits that multiplies. And then we have barrage to get the extra hit um, or more based on the agility. Then we have agility being the big part of what we do. And not going over everything on the second job, but we do have improved effect focus and chaos bringer. Focus still in the same damage dealt bucket as instant ability damage dealt and break damage dealt, but the chaos bringer being in a separate bucket, and that all just comes together for a big burst of even a weak attack becomes pretty strong in a lot of situations. Um, but yeah, across the gear, improved effect, Chaos Bringer, Focus, Light Bringer duration, Buff duration, Soul Burst, MP recovery, and then uh, there is Leviathan at one point because, oops, sorry, let me flash through the gear. There is a Leviathan at one point because I want more MP when I Soul Burst, so that's where the Soul Burst MP recovery is. The Lightbringer duration is there because I want my Chaos Bringer to last even longer. Um, so that's important to me. And then the Lionheart in case I accidentally do get hit, and the status ailment resistance in case I do get hit. And specific to the Chaos Bringer route, the core things were the Void Knight 120% for the increased MP limit boost rate, Summoner 600% to work with Leviathan, uh, and then the Breaker 120% for more Soul Burst MP recovery. And a lot of these other things I didn't actually end up using. Um, I am benefiting from Focus uh, and the Dragoon as well. I'm sorry, did I say Focus? Uh, Red Mage 250% because that helps me charge my Focus a little faster between boss rounds. And ideally, I would have something set up with Assassin 400%, but I didn't have that set up on this build. Also, I do have Thunder Lance. The hope is that sometimes I can get a lightning vulnerability on the enemy so that one of the phases I can use instant abilities from any direction, but I don't have the monk set up to do that. On my other two jobs, I'm sorry, my other allies, I start with Jed, Liberator, whoops, 120% to get 12% of their stats. I'm sorry, Liberator 600% to get 12% of their stats as long as they're alive. Lionheart, so that they do stay alive if I press the D-pad left or right, or the letters R and T on the keyboard. And then the rest of their gear is trying to stack as Assassin as high as I can for the agility, and then either Samurai, Ninja, Duelist, Thief, or Gambler to get the next most agility. I'm probably missing one. Because that they get the next most agility after Assassin. So stacking that all up because Assassin 800% excess affinity becomes stats, and Jed gets the most agility out of your NPCs on the Assassin job. Similar kind of deal, agility, Lightbringer duration, Fenrir across the gear, luck just because I didn't have anything that I wanted to do, or strength because it belonged to another build. And unfortunately, the gear is not optimized for the assassin because it's all katana stuff right now. But Lionheart was there for the invincible, uh, and then either Ash as a pugilist or a tyrant. I'm sorry, or a monk, not a tyrant, uh, or Sophia as a dragoon, uh, getting good amount of agility, but not as much as assassin. And then just kind of talking through it real quick. The monsters in the rift focused on agility monsters. Crap, this is over 10 minutes now. This is more of a build video. Um, where I have the goblin for the agility, the wolf for the agility, Coral just because of increased monster quest efficiency, but I am benefiting now because of the White Mage and Tyrant is built up as high as it is. The Cactar, if you have Assassin and Ninja built up in terms of job affinity, and with Jed out, you are going to build up Assassin job affinity. And then the Behemoth for the damage dealt to bosses and the combo ability stat bonus in case I really need to, what's the word here? Use my combo abilities and tear up the bosses. Uh, I don't think I actually demonstrated the enemies, so sorry, that wasn't the last thing. Um, so the way this might work on a world map, sorry, not the world map. This is a bad example. Um, the way this might work on an enemy wave is sometimes if you like an ability, you might take it from their corpse. And keep going with it. Let's see. So let's see. So something kind of like this. I should have stole one more time, but and I lose my buff so quick on this. I'm still alive. So it can kind of go like this when you're fighting enemy waves, and this is where I think it's a bit more enjoyable. But we do run into, whoops. And so I want to keep the blade. Oops. Oh, shoot. Wasn't paying attention. Might actually die. So yeah, not getting as much can't even think. I'm not gonna do this whole thing though. Even though I could. Or I'd want to. So, rough idea of how this kind of goes. But yeah, so we'll kind of cut it here, but just as an idea of how your enemy waves in the rift could go, where sometimes you might use another enemy's corpse, steal their ability, use it on someone who's alive, and then switch over to your monks, so, or your second job that can do the soul burst them, and um, sometimes you might bisect to get to behind an enemy and steal from behind, or you might do the side attack, side link, and try to dance around them, and maybe you go for a steal, maybe you just whip out your daggers, uh, or you do the cloaked fang if you have it trying to just kind of teleport around the field. Um, but yeah, just some ideas for an endgame thief. Even though I'll probably revise this one and end up using a ninja instead once I have enough mannequins and inventory space to shuffle things around. But yeah, hope that helped. And this is probably not really a snapshot. This is almost a build video. But yeah, yeah, thanks for watching.